Hello, everybody. I wanted to allow a few minutes for everyone to be put in their breakout rooms. My name is Charmaine, and I'm the Southern Zonal Forum Liaison for Public Relations, which includes Arkansas, Southern Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Southeastern Oklahoma, Texas, and Tennessee. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, so our first question that we had that we wanted to talk about was, what challenges do you see that you have about speaker meetings and inmate participation? Sherry is the co-host also, and I don't know if she wants to introduce herself real quick.
Hi everyone, I'm Sherry and I'm from the Autonomy Zonal Forum, which encompasses parts of West Virginia, North Carolina, and Maryland. And so we're in that particular little area there. So we encompass multiple parts of multiple states for our zone. Could we go first through a little bit? It's a 45-minute session. And if time doesn't allow or allows for questions, you can put them in the chat and be respectful of the time. And we'll start second question about halfway through the session.
Can we go around and introduce one at a time, seeing as though there's only 7 in the...
I'm Scott. I'm an addict. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm the PR chair here in Kansas City.
Hi, Scott.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I am the volunteer supervisor at for New York State at Fishkill Downstate and Greenhaven Correctional Facilities.
Hi, Tiffany.
My name is Andrea Phillips. I'm a chaplain at Willard Cybulski Correctional Institution in Enfield, Connecticut.
Welcome.
Tiffany.
I'm Jamie and I'm an addict. I'm here as technology support. Also, I am getting my certification in as a peer support specialist. I've done everything. I've just sent it off a few weeks ago. I'm just waiting for it to come back again and apply for jobs. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be in this room. My hope is that I will be able to work with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department or closely with the law enforcement in some capacity.
Okay, everyone, let's get to the first question. And our first question is, what challenges or concerns do you have about speaker meetings and inmate participation?
So about this question, the challenges that concern me the most in terms of facilities is that I know we've had an issue where the volunteers start coming in and the inmates get really accustomed to having volunteers there, and they really enjoy it, and they enjoy the feedback and the stories of people who are on the outside and who are really making it. And then unfortunately, something happens and the volunteers stop coming. And so there's a little lack of consistency, and that has been a really big issue with really convincing the superintendent and convincing the executive staff to have NA volunteers because of the consistency issue.
Does anyone else have this same concern or same issue, or have some ideas as far as some solutions to it, or what we may be able to do?
Addict named Mark T. Could you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm the CT Regional H&I Chair for Hospitals Institutions in Connecticut. I just wanted to introduce myself. I heard the question sound like a counselor from a facility. I actually go into Cybulski, Willard. I'm also a coordinator in those facilities. I heard the question about, the NA volunteers. One of the problems we've been having over in that area is the facilities start the meeting at 6:30. And, being that's in the corner of the state of Connecticut, it's hard for people. You know, a lot of people work till 5:30. The time they get out of work, it's a highly trafficked area. We've been trying to get them to start the meetings at around 7 o'clock. We realize around 8 is count, so inmates have to be back in their cells. So just a half an hour moving up that meeting time to 7 o'clock, you would find you would get more support to the state of Connecticut for members to go in to help service that facility. So it's more, the reason being, from my experience, most of these meetings start at 7 o'clock. Starting at 6:30 kind of handicaps the volunteers to be able to make it there, go through all the the gates and get in and all of that. So try to start the meeting a little later, but hopefully at some point Sandra's going to come up with some sort of Zoom presentation or audio. So we're talking about that.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Are there any others?
I think one of the suggestions that I might have, just looking at our schedule today, sometimes we think only in 30-minute increments. We can offset those sometimes by even 20 minutes. So a compromise in that situation might be at 6:40 or 6:50, which would allow a little bit more time for traffic and not push the time for people to be back to count quite so tight.
Another thing that we do is, and it's no sure or foolproof way, is that we do an orientation. And within that orientation, we really ask members that want to participate that the responsibility of this participation is to make a one-year commitment so that we don't have this changeover of persons or a void in the of going into an established meeting. And so with that, we have some continuity. But we start out by letting the NA members know that this is a responsibility that you take on in stepping up to this position, and be able to, and if you can't, to not step up to it, because these are some of the things that we've gotten information back. This is very good information to receive back. And as far as challenges with inmate participation, I know that we have to, as facilitators, we're also facilitators when we go into an H&I meeting, that we be able to facilitate the meeting and keep it on track, keep it on a topic, or sometimes we have some same people going in. So we use topic discussions and share about topics, or there are some pieces of our literature in which we can have participation. I know I just went in 2 weeks ago and did participation because we were doing the IP, Am I an Addict? And we went through and did the questions that are in that IP and asked the inmates, hey, raise your hand if you can relate to this. So that type of inmate participation helps keep it on track so that it doesn't become a session complaining about the facility or things of that sort. And with speaker meetings, we have to be careful that we have speakers going in and understanding that it's a little different from a regular speaker meeting when you're going into facility, because part of their job is also to let the inmates know what Narcotics Anonymous is and how it's helps us to stay clean and in recovery. And that needs to kind of be enmeshed in what we share when we have speakers go in, and that it's not just like at a convention or something. Thanks.
Another thing that I had was the challenges from the Narcotics Anonymous side for the H&I meetings, a lot of times, especially when we go back from COVID, a lot of our groups have shrunk during this time period. And I think there may be some difficulty in being able to get appropriate people into the facilities that can pass the screenings, etc. But at some points, when group sizes go up and down with participation, we have had to find that we had to go from a weekly commitment to either a twice a month, or even just go back to once a month. There's places in our area and that have had to go to a once a month because of the size of commitment that they have had, rather than having someone not show up when you had a weekly commitment. So that's something from the Narcotics Anonymous side that sometimes we have to work with the facility to be a reasonable strength to what our possibilities are.
I just wanted to put it out there that in New York State, ex-offenders, ex-inmates, ex-cons, however you want to say it, are able to volunteer in our facilities. So we accept people who have a criminal past. We understand that that's part of that's part of surviving, I guess you could say, NA, and moving past and being successful, that you were in the same, and the message is stronger when you can reflect on the fact that you were in those same seats and you were in those same situations as the people who you're talking to in the group when you come to a correctional facility. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, because I know that a lot of times I get asked, oh, well, if somebody has a history, are they able to volunteer? And they are. Like, a person could have been in for murder, and depending on different factors, they are still considered for approval for volunteering. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Maybe that's something that we should be more hitting the jungle drums with NA, and making sure that if we are putting something out there about needing more people for an H&I meeting or any kind of jail or institution, that we let them know, we make sure that we know what the laws are, and that we put it right out there on the flyer so that people don't automatically exclude themselves.
Definitely.
In Missouri, you can't have a felony on your record unless it's like 10 years old.
Right.
To get your VIC, which is Volunteer in Corrections, approved. So it's a little different in the state of Missouri. I know every state has a little bit different laws, but that's just our experience in Missouri. I think Missouri is probably a little stricter for all kinds of reasons, but.
Well, in New York, we even take people who are on parole as long as they're able to get a letter from their parole officer to be considered. It doesn't mean that you're automatically going to get approved. And it definitely also depends on the disciplinary history once you were in the facility. But we definitely do consider for volunteers, people who do have a previous history, like I said, because it's more insightful and impactful to hear a message of success from somebody who has been where you've been, you know?
And I think that's really great. I wish that Missouri was so progressive, but we do what we can.
Scott, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Thank you. So have you been able to bring any virtual meetings into any of the facilities in Missouri?
So far, we have not. It's been an issue with getting the proper verification. The prisons in Missouri are very restrictive as far as letting anything come in over the internet. So we've been fighting that battle, and I'm not seeing it changing. But you know, our show me H&I chair is not real technologically adapted or motivated, so he's having a few issues too. So hopefully we can get him some help.
So because there are three different, if you go to virtual-na.org, there are three different platforms, and one of them is Discord, and Discord is voice only.
I understand, but our H&I chair currently is someone that's my age, which I think he has some technological challenges, and so we're trying to help him along. I do PR, which is a different thing, and so I try to help him where I can, but I don't know how technologically advanced he is.
Gotcha.
Okay, everyone, at this time, we need to move on to the second question.
What do you think the barriers are to establishing a meeting, speaker panel, or long-lasting relationship with NA? Is there someone who would like to share with that?
Well, I mean, like I said previously, the barrier to establishing meetings is the consistent. And unfortunately, we also are not able to do any kind of virtual Zoom meetings of any kind. We have one now because of COVID. We have only one WebEx camera with equipment, and that's dedicated towards college programs that we have in the facility and parole and things of that nature. So it's really difficult to start NA. Like I said, because the warden, superintendent, the executive team, they have found that there's no consistency. And so that's a big concern for them. We did have two individuals who were interested in bringing AA in, and we have found that AA, maybe they have a bigger following, I don't know, but we really would love to have NA, but it just hasn't been working out for some reason. I don't know if it's the area that we're in or what. Maybe it is, like one individual said, maybe it's the time of the meetings. Maybe if we move the meetings back. I also wanted to mention, would it be possible, do you think that NA people would be interested in doing like a weekend meeting? Just curious.
Hi, Mark T. I just listening to a woman there talk. It's her name, Tiffany. They're, you know, with the times we're in right now, like we're trying to work with the deputy warden who spoke, opened it up. They're talking about doing just something with voice at the moment until we could. You know, I presented some good ideas to try to, like we talked about on this meeting here, a locked room with passcodes and everything, you know, and these are the same members that have been going in weekly, you know, like to them, and they're going to be looking at that. I just find as an H&I member, I've been doing it here in Connecticut for over 10 years now, you know, a lot of the times that they set, you know, kind of handicapped meetings. Like we had a meeting at one end of the state. They were, I mean, there's a reason why we have NA meetings, regular NA meetings at 7 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like, because most people get out of work at 5:30, and you know, it's hard. You know, when you're going through a facility, a prison facility, you know, that between you park and then you got to go inside, go through the detectors, go through the facility. Sometimes it takes a while to get just into the facility. You know, like I would always recommend during the week, you know, for a correctional institution, if they want to have a meeting, that the start time would be at 7 o'clock, 7 to 8 o'clock. The ones that are 7 to 8 o'clock, we find more participation. Just that extra half an hour is a lot. You know, I know that, you know, a lot of the meetings do start from 6:30 to 7:30, and some start at 7, but the ones that start at 7 o'clock during the week, you know, end up getting more participation. The weekend thing, I guess, is a good idea. It's something we could talk about. And the other thing too is, I just want to say, like it says in the NA literature, it talks about a topic discussion meeting. It's the most conducive format to you know, a facility. So, you know, sometimes, you know, it's good to bring speakers in, but we go in with, you know, we try to bring in 3 to 5 people, at least 3, and we like to do a topic discussion. You know, we let the inmates pick the topic, and you know, we'll 3 of us will share on it, and then we'll open it up. Thanks.
Tiffany, possibly if we could get you in touch with the public relations and hospitals and institutions, maybe they can give you, you can work with them as far as finding a time that may work for some of the members in the New York area. Because I think that there's probably quite a few members there that may be involved, but it's sitting down and talking about what may work and what may not work, and coming up with something that works for both. So we'll try to get you in touch with someone in the New York area, or maybe you already know somebody, and I would voice these concerns as far as trying to coordinate a time that works for everyone. Because I know that myself, I'm retired, so I can come in at 2 o'clock during the day. So, you know, we have a variety of members in our fellowship that would probably be able to, you know, work something out, maybe not as frequently, but be able to try to find something.
And if you're able to do virtual, maybe it wouldn't have to be in the New York area. It could be from anywhere, you know, in the United States or anywhere in the world, actually.
Unfortunately, we're not able to do virtual.
That's what you said.
I might want to suggest to the person that maybe our inmate population currently has tablets. And so maybe they can do something through their tablets. I can definitely give that information, but I had spoken to the person who is the head here, and he said he was going to look for volunteers, but for whatever reason, we're like just out of the reach. There's like a lot of people who have access kind of more north, and then there are more people who will have access down in the city. But unfortunately, we're like that little belt that is just kind of really, as you say, it's hard to get to after work, and there are not that many volunteers in our predominant area for some reason. So maybe now that we've had the tablets for roughly, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe 4. So maybe that might be, I hadn't thought about it until now with all this talk about virtual meetings, because we don't, like I said, we don't really have the ability to personally do it because every meeting has to be supervised. And we have so many groups and programs that are already occupying the one piece of equipment that we have. And it would be difficult. So maybe it might be something that they can do. I will talk to, if you can give me that name and number again, I would love to reach out to that individual and see if they would be able to make some kind of agreement with the people who secure our tablets.
Okay.
What exact part of the state are you in? We'll have to try to get that information for you. I'm not sure what.
I am in Dutchess County. So all of my correctional facilities are in Dutchess County.
Okay.
Tiffany, when we go back into the large room, possibly we can pose that question and get more information from everyone in the session, the large session, and be able to get that information to you. Because the tablets, we've heard about the tablets being dispensed to inmates. And we were hoping that if nothing else, we can get literature to be put on the tablets so that there are recovery literature from Narcotics Anonymous to be able to read. And I know that our World Services was working on that task to get literature on the tablets of the inmates.
We also might be able to have actual speaker recordings from different, especially world conventions, because those are all recorded, that might have access into a tablet. I'm not sure about that technology, but we can ask Jane about that.
Mm-hmm.
May I also make an observation about the barriers? I mean, so one of the things, I used to work around the corner from Garner's Correctional in Connecticut. And I spent my first 5 years cleaning Connecticut. And it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's about at least 30 minutes from a decent sized city. And that's the same problem here in North Carolina, is that we are constantly having problems trying to get people to even speak or to, keep commitments at H&I meetings in prisons, because of the fact that they are so out in the middle of nowhere. So that's, I mean, not necessarily in Raleigh. There are 2 large facilities in the Raleigh-Durham area. But other than that, most of them are unfortunately away from a large metropolis, which is going to have more likely to have more NA meetings. Virtual meetings would solve it.
One thing that, with the pandemic and the use of virtual, that may be to our advantage in helping rural facilities to be able to get the message, the Narcotics Anonymous recovery message into these facilities. And, we just need to be open and, like what Tom has done, be able to have sit downs and talk and brainstorm, basically, is what it boils down to, with the facility, and get that key person. We have Tiffany here that, is a key person that we possibly, with coming up with the tablets, we can work with her on, as Charmaine said, being able to send her some recordings and be able to get the literature downloaded so that we can, we don't have to do, we can get outside the box. The virtual aspect has allowed us to really look outside the box, and so and brainstorm what can work, just because we don't have things pristine as far as flowing into having Zoom meetings and putting them up, and how can, the most important thing is getting the literature and our message in there, and so that, these inmates can be able to know about Narcotics Anonymous when they come out and know that there is hope. So, hopefully we can work with people like Tiffany, and we're just so glad that she's on this event so that we can have contacts and be able to come up with these ideas of getting our message in.
Now, the other thing is, I'm going to go ahead and post in the chat, but because the parameters here may be different than the parameters that were set up at my home group the last time we had a large virtual meeting. But the last, so we may be able to have something, it's all just us. It might go to everyone. I'm not sure.
They said it was going to go to everyone, is what I
thought it, right. I thought it was.
That's what you said.
I'm sorry?
That's what you said, that it was going to go to everyone if we use the chat.
Right, but I'm going to double check to see if anybody else from another room responds when I put something in the chat. I'm going to give it a shot. Like I said, there's parameters that you can set up behind Zoom to do different things like you can actually shut off. That was one of the things I was going to say was you can actually shut off everybody's video and keep it off. Or if a co-host shuts off somebody else's video, if they
we know that. Yep,
right.
Thank you.
So I didn't know if the parameters that were set in my home group were that everybody or the breakout rooms, but I'm just going to put something up and see what happens.
I believe it's just a matter of time before we're going to get something, like to Tiffany, being there's a lot of prisons like that. It's only a matter of time before we're going to get audio and then probably video in these facilities. I mean, you could, like Jamie just talked about, you could just bring audio. You could shut people's screens off and just bring audio in. And then if you have a locked password that just only the members that go into these facilities weekly have, together with the facility, why can't we have, and then we're gonna have these in there at some point. It's just a matter of time. And then we'll be able to reach anybody. It's not, like they were showing what the map there of the world. We might be able to do several facilities in one night from Zoom.
Okay, so some of the barriers that we've talked about in establishing a meeting is today that some of the facilities don't have a virtual capability. Speaker panels, we talk about sometimes we don't have enough members to create a speaker panel. And long-lasting relationships. Are some of our members that are on our breakout meeting have long-lasting relationships? And if so, how did you establish those?
One of the things that I know that I have put myself into a situation, even though our regional public relations places will change every other year in some places. Sometimes it's every year. The chair people, the contacts, a lot of times we will keep with the same people and just bring the new chairperson with us, so that even though we're rotating out as a actual chairperson for that public relations, it keeps consistency until they get used to having a new person and a new face in that position. And I think that helps a lot of times with keeping the same faces, even though our internal situation may have changed.
So sometimes keeping a point of contact coordinator, not necessarily someone who actually goes in the facility or is on the virtual, but just a point of contact that's consistent.
Yes. We call them past servants.
One of the barriers that we seem to be having is a lot of the drug court members, a lot of the city council people, they're in another 12-step fellowship. So it's like they are bringing in or contacting, they're in a position more so than what NA is to have that first contact with potential members. And so potential members are then being said that this is the fellowship, even though it may be drug specific, that, it's still, we work, with people with a drug problem and so forth and so on. So we're having, it's almost like 30 years ago when we have very mixed meeting attendance of inmates that come out, which make it a little difficult getting established, especially in, in the jails and stuff. Some of the rehabs, they will allow us in, but that initial contact with them is still basically another 12-step program. And we've also, through public relations, there have been community members that have talked, that are also long-term recovery. I won't say they're not in NA, but they're recovery or have gone to NA, that say derogatory things about our fellowship as a whole, which sometimes causes a barrier for us to have an opportunity to even go in and be able to show and be what NA is about. It's been a bit challenging in our section of the world to get beyond this, and we've been really vigilant as far as showing up and being present. Because like what we said earlier, that sometimes with NA, that continuity and having a face and being able to be consistent has been a challenge for our fellowship in the past years. And hopefully that we can overcome that challenge that we have and get beyond that with their communities so that we can develop these long-lasting relationships and that they have someone that they can call or feel confident that if they do call that there will be, you know, a response on the other end.
We have a few minutes left, and there's a couple of people that are in the room here that we haven't heard from. Would you like to say anything if you haven't had a chance to speak?
Yeah, Chaplain Phillips, we'd love to hear from you. What is your take on a lot of this?
Well, at our facility, we don't really have, I guess, the capability. I think if anything, we may have to do like a recorded session. That's the way that we're going with religious services, just dealing with COVID. I do believe we have enough volunteers to pull it off. And I think the biggest challenge would be just getting everything prepared to present to administration to see if they would approve and sign off on it.
Okay.
Do you have a contact person to be able to do that preparation?
Not right now. And the imam that was on earlier, we are at the same facility, so I would be interested to hear his take on everything. But currently, no. We do have interest though from the inmates. They are, you know, asking what's going on, and you know, so I don't think that would be an issue on the end of the inmate participation.
But what about our NA participation? Do you have a contact NA person for public relations or H&I?
No, not currently.
Where are you located?
In Enfield, Connecticut?
Okay, maybe the H&I person that can help from Connecticut can help find you the correct person to get in touch with.
Okay.
Adam H., who is in the meeting, would probably be able to, Adam's involved at the state level. He's in another room, but he would probably be able to help. I'm conferring with one of my other home group members. Under this Zoom ID, whatever you put in the chat stays within this breakout room. It wasn't, like I said, didn't happen that way with another session. But yeah,